Good evening, scholars, and welcome back to the Restricted Collection, a podcast about, well, usually tabletop games, but today we are continuing our discussion of the Nuzlocke run that some friends of mine and I went through. Uh, I'm your host, the Head Librarian, Chad. We are joined, much like the first Nuzlocke episode, by the French Hills resident carpenter, Zach. Good evening, Zach.
Good evening. I'm glad to be back.
We're also joined, as we were in the last episode, by Nick, our liaison to the Silver Twilight Lodge. Good evening, Nick.
Hello, hello.
And for the first time, we have. Do you want? Would you prefer Jonathan or Johan?
I guess I'm kind of fine with whatever, but we can go with Johan since we're all friends here.
Sure. But for the first time, we are joined by Johan, our curator of chemical curiosities. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Thank you all for being on. Where we last left off, Nick and I were just before the Elite Four. Zach, you were around Gym 7 with Blaine. And Jonathan, you had started your run, but had been unable to join us for the last recording. So, do you want to start with how yours began as you catch up to where the rest of us are?
Sure, I'm happy to start with that. So I was pretty late to join the party when it came to playing the Nuzlocke. I just didn't expect to originally have time, but was able to find some, so that was good. But yeah, no, I started with the Fire Red version. Started with Charmander because I'm a huge fan of Charmander. But yeah, I gotta now remember a lot because it's been a while. But first roadblock for the most part was Brock naturally because he's all rock types and you don't really get a whole lot of access to a variety of Pokemon at the beginning, mainly just bugs. And I had a Charmander, but I was fortunately able to catch a Mankey, which ended up making him pretty pretty easy. Just leveling up the Mankey, getting it low kick, and it just low kicked all his Pokemon to smithereens. It was very nice. From there, obviously, next gym would have been Misty, but I did have my first death in the rival fight in Cerulean, right? That's the next town.
Yep, the one that jumps you at the bridge.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying because I had kind of been following along with how your guys' run was going. But I was sort of at the beginning, at least, trying to not look up like what trainers' levels were, and just because I have played just the first generation so much in when I was significantly younger, I did remember that he still had a first stage evolution for his starter at that fight. So I thought his Pokemon would be around like level 16, 15 maybe, you know. Nope, turns out they're like level 18. So I went into that fight terribly underleveled. Well, I guess not terribly, but still underleveled. I think my strongest was 16 at the time. Um, and goodness, his it was quite a fight to begin with. I got to remember how I actually managed to do all this. I do remember finally taking out his Pidgeotto with my because I got it down to a very low amount of health. Was able to switch into my Rattata, which had Quick Attack, and was able to take it out with a Quick Attack. He then sent out his Squirtle, and um, Rattata was able to at least use or what was it Hyper Fang, I think it is, which
Yeah.
managed to bring it down to red after red health after two hits. But my Rattata at the time was also very very low, and so I took a gamble on because I didn't want to miss with a Hyper Fang because it's not 100% accurate. So I used Quick Attack on his Squirtle, and it did not kill it. So his Squirtle ended up killing my Rattata. But after that, I was able to switch into I think it was my probably Pidgeotto at the time or my Sparrow, one of the two, and take down his Squirtle. And then all he had was an Abra that could knew teleport. So after those two were dead, it was very simple. But yeah, that was my
Free
first
XP.
loss. Yeah, right. That was my first death of the run was Rattata. Um, But other than that, I didn't really have too much trouble with either Misty, because I ended up catching an Oddish and was able to level that up to to evolve into a Gloom, and it dealt with her Pokemon pretty easily. And then
Did you?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, did you have a naming convention for
I
your?
oh yes, I did. I was going with I was going with like ancient gods, so lots of Egyptian and Greek gods were
Very
named.
nice.
Yeah, some Norse in there as well. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. The rival on the SSN didn't cause me too much trouble. Fortunately, Lieutenant Surge didn't cause me too much trouble. I caught a Doug Trio, and Doug Trio handled Lieutenant Surge very
You
easily.
you you caught. Wait, sorry. Did you
Sorry,
catch
I
a
caught
I
Doug?
would
a
say
Diglett.
we
I caught a
can't
Diglett.
just glance over the fact that he caught
Yeah.
the arena trap Doug Trio.
I would say, what?
No, that was definitely not the
You
case.
mean the
No.
terror of the game?
We
I
all
did not run into that
lamented.
Doug Trio.
We all
Fortunately.
lamented the being caught off guard by the Doug Trio, which is why you're like, yeah. So I caught a Doug. So I used my
Yeah,
Doug
no.
Trio. And I'm like, okay.
No. It was a Diglett. It was a Diglett. Sorry for the
Okay, all
misspeak
right.
there. Yeah. No, I was terrified of the Diglett cave. I literally I need to catch Diglett, but I did not travel very far from the ladder that got you down there. So
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna say
I heard.
if anybody is gonna catch the Doug Trio, he would be joining the pantheon of gods. So that would be allowed.
That's true. um, yeah. But no, I saw a lot of back and forth on the text chain from you guys regarding the Doug Trio. So I was not taking any chances.
That's smart.
Yep. Um, yeah, and then let's see. So yeah, Lieutenant Surge, not a problem. Had a ground type to deal with his electric types. And then I had my on the way to uh, Lavender Town, right?
Yeah, through the rock tunnel.
Yeah, through Rock Tunnel. So right before Rock Tunnel, ran into a trainer who I think it was just had a Geodude or something, and uh, had my Mankey out fighting that Geodude, and Geodude's got high defense, even though Mankey's attacks are super effective. It didn't die in one hit, and then it managed to land a Magnitude 10,
Oh,
yeah,
Ugh.
on my Mankey, which
brutal.
yeah, which ended up knocking it out in one hit. So that was my um, second loss. That one was painful. Mankey was named Ares, and I was pretty fond of the Mankey. So
Yeah, the
um,
god of war. You can't lose him so early.
I know I was very disappointed by that, but yeah. But Rock Tunnel was not a huge, fortunately, was not a huge problem. Um, let's see. Next was Lavender Town. So because I lost Mankey, who is a fighting type, in Rock Tunnel, I actually managed to catch Machop. So I figured I'd try and train
Nice.
up Machop.
Mm.
Just because I'm like, it could be useful to have a fighting type. Even though in retrospect, I'm kind of like, I don't know anywhere in the game other than against like Brock and maybe Bruno that a fighting type would be useful.
Isn't fighting
But
good against ice?
I think
Yes.
Or
you're
am I
right.
misremembering
Yeah,
that?
no, I think you're right. It could be, but usually they don't have very good special defenses, so I don't know how. And fighting types tend to be a little on the slower side.
Sure.
So I don't know how useful they'd be against Lorelei. Um, but yeah, so let's see, Lavender Town, and then is it Celadon City is the next one, or the where Erica is, right?
Yes.
But you have to go through. There's Saffron City is where Erica is. No, yeah, Erica. Sorry, I'm getting Erica and
Sabrina,
Sabrina confused.
all good. Yeah, sorry, I'm not very good with the city names. It's been a while, so
No, you're good. But yeah, Celadon, fourth gym with Erica, the grass gym.
Yep.
I do have a note that we missed about talking about, but I'm gonna I'll pin that for after you're done talking about Erica.
Sure, sounds good. I'm kind of trying to also move a little quickly here, so I'm not covering all the details. But yeah,
Sure.
Erica was easy. I had a Charmander and a Pharaoh
Yeah, that'll do it.
and a Pidgeotto at the time. Super easy. But on the way there, because I was trying to train up this Machop, one of the trainers on the road that had a coughing, um, so had a coughing and it landed a critical hit sludge on my Machop and it brought it from full health to 0. So
Oh no.
I know, right? Just that was
You and
also very
fighting types.
frustrating. Yeah, I know. I kind of decided to abandon them at that point. So I did consider playing with the Hitmonchan, but decided against it. So anyway, but the rocket base or the rocket secret base in the game corner also had, I guess technically I think I had 2 fatalities there. But I kind of did things a little bit out of order. I don't know if it's necessarily out of order, but kind of staggered. So I went into the rocket hideout, and one of the trainers, probably another one with a coughing, I can't fully remember. Anyway, had my Pharaoh out against him, and he explodes. So that
Yep.
completely eliminated my Pharaoh, and I'm pretty sure that was still after. I don't remember which day it was, but there was like one day where I swear there were tons of text messages between us where everyone was dying from explosions. But
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that day. The
so
massacre.
apparently I didn't learn, but anyway. So after that, I figured, okay, maybe I need to train up a little bit because I need to be able to kill these Pokemon, at least these Puffings, in like one hit to make sure they can't explode on me. So I went to Saffron to go do the fighting, I guess the fighting gym. I don't know what's it called.
It's
Fighting
the dojo.
Okay, the dojo.
I'm gonna call my pin out now.
Sure.
Real quickly on Erica, you probably didn't have this problem, but Pat and I lamented over this a bit. I don't think it's Erica herself, but one of the trainers in that gym has a Tangela that just will not die.
No, it's Erica's Tangela.
It's Erica's Tangela?
Yeah, Tankle.
Yeah, the Tankle. Tankela. Both. I remember going through that and discussing like this was a real big pain part of it, but I realized we didn't talk about that in the last episode when we went through. Oh, yeah, because we just brushed by Erica, because who cares about Erica's gym? But no, that was that tanky Tangela was a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem.
Or flamethrowers
yeah.
to kill that Tangela.
I think I just used Ember. I think it worked.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember the Tangle at all. I think I just merged it too quickly with Patton.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Ninetales or a Vulpix at that point with the flamethrower. It was just like, it just wouldn't die.
Wow.
Yeah, I had Willow. The only fire move that I had at the time on my Ninetales was Will-O-Wisp, which did some good work, but it was the only like straight fire move I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. But went to the fighting dojo, thinking that'd be some easy experience for my at least my Pidgeotto. And holy cow, those guys were much higher level than I expected them to be.
I know.
Yeah. So my Pidgeotto ended up dying to a Machoke who used revenge on it because it didn't kill it in one hit. So the revenge took it out. I don't think, if I remember correctly, I think Pidgeotto was already at like half health or something, because it was, again, they were significantly higher level than I expected. But yeah, so that was the death of Pidgeotto. So I then decided to not go do the fighting dojo, and I think I just ended up going and fighting some other trainers and wild Pokemon to level up my team a bit. The remaining part of the Rocket hideout really wasn't too bad. apart from Giovanni, where I also ran into some bad luck.
Ooh.
So Giovanni's first 2 Pokemon were easy. It's a Rhyhorn, and I don't remember this other one, but it's another like rock ground type, right? Anyway, I had a Dugtrio at that time, and the Dugtrio took out the Rhyhorn and his other one, no problem. And then the Kangaskhan came out, and I don't know what was wrong with Dugtrio that day, but I managed. I landed 2 magnitudes on the Kangaskhan, but they were both magnitude 4s, so they did like no damage to it.
Yeah.
The Kangaskhan used, I think it was Mega Punch.
Yep.
Basically, it took about a third of Dugtrio's health away. So first magnitude landed, did magnitude of 4, did barely anything. Kangaskhan punches my Dugtrio. I launch another magnitude at it, roll a 4 again apparently, so it barely anything. Then it hits my Dugtrio with another Mega Punch. And then I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous, but I attempted to magnitude again because that, at the time at least, I felt was my best move against it. And I rolled a 5, so barely any damage to it, and then it killed my Dugtrio with another Mega Punch.
I'm sorry.
That's bad luck.
It was it was more of a
As being on the
frustration.
receiving end of those Mega Punches as well, I feel your pain.
Hey,
Yeah,
I get it.
I was amazed at how much Dugtrio is able to kind of tank, but at the same time, just I don't know, kind of felt like it deserved to die at that point. It's like clearly you're not up for this challenge, but but yeah, I was able to take out the Kangaskhan with the remainder of my party and had no more fatalities, so that was good.
Good.
Yeah, and then the what's the tower called? Sorry, in Lavender Town.
The Poke Tower?
Silphco?
No, is it just the Poke Tower?
Oh yeah, the Poke Tower
The one
with all the
with
ghosts.
the ghosts. Yeah, yeah. The rocket fights in there were no problem. Let's see here. Managed to catch one of the Snorlaxes. I did not catch the first one, but I was able to catch the second, so that was good.
Nice.
He was a very nice addition to the team. And then where did we go? I think I went and took out most of, no, I did not. Okay, so yeah, and then I would have gone to the rocket hideout at at Silphco in Saffron City. So that one went fairly well. I didn't have any deaths during that section of the game, so that was good. And then to Sabrina and Koga, I didn't have any deaths either. While in Saffron doing the Silphco section, ended up getting a Lapras, so figured that would be a
Nice.
fantastic member addition to the team for to use against Lance in the Elite Four. And then I think that brings us up to Blaine. I don't think I missed anyone. Did I?
Koga.
Oh, I thought I said that Koga went fine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, but yeah, Koga wasn't too bad. So, no, I guess nothing super exciting to report there. But yeah, anyway, so up to Blaine.
Which catches you up to where Zach left off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had Nimitz out, and he was trained up. He's my my Seadra, and so he made quick work of Blaine. There was no problem at all.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you just buried him underwater? Just
yeah,
I just surf win?
Yeah, that's what it is. Just threw him overboard, buried at sea.
How was Blaine for you, Jonathan?
Blaine was easy for me, but before Blaine, in the burned burned mansion, I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, while I was
Pokemon
trying to
Mansion.
train up, while I was trying to train up Lapras, um, uh, came across a Weezing, and because I had not played these games for a while, did not realize that the wild Weezings in that area had explosion or self-destruct, one of the two.
Yep.
And yep, so it self-destructed and took out Lapras, and I was very annoyed by
Oh
that
no.
because I'm like,
Um,
I need
yeah.
something that I can use against Lance. So, fortunately, I had not caught. Well, I guess technically had not gotten a Pokemon from Celadon yet. So I ended up grabbing the Eevee and evolving it into a Vaporeon, and then very carefully leveled it up and taught it Surf, and so Vaporeon made Blaine trivial. I think it knocked out every one of his Pokemon with a single Surf. I was very surprised that it was that effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surf is busted.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Which brings you guys to Giovanni's gym.
Oh yeah.
Did that one also fall to the sea?
No, this one for Giovanni, I had DeGaulle take him out. So he came in with the Spore Bullet Seed strategy. And yeah, so he knocked out the first Rhyhorn easily, and then the second level 50 Rhyhorn came in. DeGaulle did the same thing, which is impressive because he's only level 43 at the time. And then Bliss came in the Haunter and then took out the rest of his Pokemon with Psychic, because that was the Nidoqueen, right? And then yeah, that was it.
So not too
So
bad.
no casualties. Yeah, it was not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Similarly, I think
Jonathan?
Vaporeon carried the brunt of it. I also had a Vileplume at that point too, which um, dealt. I think I probably dealt with a few of his with Vileplume, at least the first, probably the Rhydons, just because super effective. But yeah, between Vileplume and Vaporeon, Giovanni was trivial in his gym fight.
Nice.
Yeah, just because he just decides to leave the freaking Kangaskhan at home for the
Right? Don't know why. That one's so good.
It tore its or it has a wrist injury from all this mega punches. Okay. How was Victory Road for you guys?
All right, so here's where I ran into a bit of an issue. So when I was listening to the pod the first time, like when we were recording the pod and you guys were talking about it, Pat ran into the rival on Route 22. And I thought
Yep.
that was because he didn't run into him the first time. So I thought that it was low level and that the rival battle that I really had to worry about was right at the end of Victory Road, which maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that's when the battle was. Maybe that's just in the original one.
I
Can
think
you
you're
guys
right.
confirm?
I think
Yeah.
it is in the original Gen 1.
Yeah. But in Fire Red, they move it up to right there on Route 22. So I walked into that rival battle totally blind. So when I was in that battle, I was thrown off already. And apparently I also didn't pay attention to the fact that you guys were raving about Blastoise and his bite. So I left Bliss in against Blastoise, who bit him to death,
Ooh.
which was tragic. And so then DeGaulle came in and tried the Spore Bullet Seed strategy that had worked on Giovanni, which was great, except that when I had gotten him down to 1 HP, Blastoise woke up and had a critical bite and then killed DeGaulle.
Ooh.
That was just tragic because I was absolutely on board with DeGaulle going into the final battle, but it didn't work out. And then after that, I finished off the rival just totally after that. Obviously, he had 1 HP left, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. I can see the confusion of, oh, I already had a rival battle here. Why would there be another one?
Yeah, and you guys hadn't encountered the rival yet. So when you guys were talking about the rival battle on Victory Road, I assumed it was at the end.
Oh no!
And so
I fought that rival battle twice. I almost had my run end by accidentally going down and fighting that rival battle on 22 before fighting Brock.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that was
when
a
you run
surprise one.
into it, because I ran into that one early, and so yeah, because that's the one you talked about, right? Before when you ran into him before Brock.
Yeah.
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 Because
Yeah.
the second time I fight him there, there was not much of a. It wasn't really much of a fight.
Okay.
But that first time, man, my Pidgey leveled up just in time to be able to take down his Bulbasaur, and because he learned Gust on the level up. Otherwise, that would have just been the end. I would not have been able to beat his Bulbasaur at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like, yeah. In retrospect, I'm a little surprised they have a rival battle right there, especially since you have another rival battle at the end of the Elite Four. But yeah, well. But did the rest of Victory Road go all right, Zach?
Oh no, definitely not.
Oh.
Jeez.
It's been a hot minute, so I don't fully remember. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, no, it was rough. So then I brought in, because I was thinking about what my plan was for the Elite Four. So I brought in Kane the Magnemite and Halsey because I knew that he had to be vital for the run somewhere because I chose him instead of the Articuno. So I bring them in and then decide that I'm just gonna switch train them or just train them on Victory Road. And then Halsey, the Psyduck, just unceremoniously dies to a Machop on Victory Road. And so that was just sad. I was like, all right, well, I need to change my strategy a little bit. So I left the cave then and then just trained up until he was the appropriate level. And I brought in Halleck the Drowsy to make up for the dead Halsey the Psyduck. And then I went back in the cave in Victory Road, and then I was battling a random cool trainer somewhere around, like in the middle, and Kane the Magneton died to a Kingler, and I was like, I'm over this. This is serious now. So I brought in.
Cool.
I'm like, we're done with these casualties. So I brought in Biden the Snorlax, Sleepy Joe, and then I trained him up, and then at the very end, the last battle of Victory Road, Halleck died, the Hypno, and so then I brought in Sitwell the Venonat and trained him up. Yeah, so that was the training. Then after that was just a grind. But my team going to Elite Four was LeMay, the Pidgeotto or the Pidgeot, Patton, the Charizard, Sitwell, the Venonat or Venomoth, Nimitz, the Seadra, Biden, the Snorlax, and of course Washington, the Clefable.
I'm sorry, just like that. It's Washington, the Clefable.
Yes.
How was Victory Road for you, Jonathan?
It wasn't too bad. Thank you for all going through it before me. Yeah, I fortunately did not lose anyone on Victory Road. The rival battle went fine. Victory Road went fine. Yeah, so I was able to pretty easily get to the Elite Four, and so for my team at that point before the Elite Four was my Charizard Raw, a Haunter named Set, Vileplume named Gaia, Snorlax named Atlas, um, a Vaporeon named Poseidon, and then a Zapdos named Zeus. Because that was another important thing before I went and fought the rival, because my rival had a Blastoise, and while Vileplume was great against it, I figured that Zapdos would be very useful also against Lorelei, because I didn't really have any team that's any Pokemon that I could use that was super good against her. So ran to the power plant and used a handful of repels to make sure that Zapdos was my first encounter, and I caught it with a Master Ball. So
Very nice. All right. So I
I
think
can't remember. Did we talk about my Safari in the last episode?
no.
We
Okay.
may have.
All right, yeah, because I was gonna say I remember that we talked about the Articuno that I didn't catch, but then I went and found the Zapdos, and right after that went to the power station, went and took a picture with the Zapdos, and then where's the Moltres?
On
Uh,
one island
Mount
there.
Ember.
Oh yeah. And then I went and I took a picture next to the Moltres, and then I went and caught it, and then put it in the box because I'm like, I'm not gonna do this the easy way.
Of course not.
Yeah,
Especially after you lost all of those Pokemon.
I know, for real.
uh, all right. So with all of us caught up to the start of the Elite Four, chronologically, Nick, you were the after Pat, you were the next one to go through them.
Yeah. So Lorelei was pretty easy. Way back in Celadon, I accidentally found Eevee, and that ended up being my Celadon City Pokemon. Um, Worked out because then I just turned it into a Jolteon and gave it Thunderbolt, and then Lorelei stopped being a problem. Thunderbolt pretty much literally one shot every single Pokemon other than Jinx, and then I literally just bit the Jinx to death with my Blastoise. It's a psychic type. So Lorelei wasn't. I if you asked me about the Elite Four, I would have questioned. You mean only three? Uh, Bruno was harder. My Sand Slash was gonna be the thing that was gonna carry me through it. That was at least my plan. But it turns out that my Sand Slash was just not quite able to one shot his Onyxes with an Earthquake.
Yeah.
So I had to Earthquake a lot, and because he kept full restoring his Onyxes, so we just kind of tanked each other's big hits for a while until I finally wore down his healing items,
Yeah.
and then the rest is just kind of what it is. Sandslash was pretty much able to take out the rest of them, and then my Venomoth swapped in to take care of the fighting types with some psychics or Psybeams. Venomoth coming in clutch again for Agatha. Uh, Thank you to Pat for telling me that the first Gengar is like a dodge tank. Because I just literally used Detect as my first move, and all of its time then spent double teaming and all that became useless, and I just Psybeamed it to death.
Sure.
And that's just how Agatha went, except for the second Gengar, who was apparently out for freaking blood. I thought I was gonna just have to do the same thing again, so I detected, and then it just hit me with a Shadow Ball. I'm like, oh, you're here to fight. So yeah, a little bit of a back and forth there. But otherwise, there's that. That wasn't too bad. Lance between a combination of all my Pokemon. I grabbed Articuno just for an ice type. I honestly didn't have to spend time grinding levels for all that many levels for. Uh, Gave it Ice Beam and said, yeah, that's good enough for dragons. And for the most part, it was led with Jolteon because I knew he led with Gyarados, and then Blastoise took out Aerodactyl, and then Articuno for the dragons. My final fight against the champion was a little more dicey. Jolteon was gonna be clutch because it just took out the Pidgeot and then eventually took out his Gyarados. Main problem was that he had some other tankier Pokemon that I wasn't gonna just be necessarily able to one shot, and eventually, my through a whole bunch of swapping around and everything else, my Nidoqueen that I brought around for some extra coverage ended up tanking a couple of big hits and ended up going down in the final fight. But otherwise, it bought me enough time to heal up my Pokemon for the swap in, and then the champion went down after that.
So you lost one Pokemon in the entire Elite Four / champion run.
Yeah, and if honestly, if you were gonna have me guess which one, I would have guessed the Nidoqueen. It didn't have a direct advantage; it was mostly there for extra coverage.
Yeah. So just I know you listed them as you used them. What were the 6 Pokemon that you had?
I had
The
a
Jolteon.
Jolteon, Articuno, Blastoise, um, Sandslash, Nidoqueen. Did I say 6 or is that only 5?
I
And
count 5 on
Venomoth.
And Venomoth, yes. Well, very nice. uh,
Venomoth being very clutch because it pretty much took down 1.5 gym leaders.
and you were commenting that Venomoth wasn't a Pokemon that you ever really used that much before.
Not as a kid. It wasn't until like the Pokemon Stadium games that I realized that Venonat and Venomoth were actually pretty good Pokemon. I'd played through the original generations like a number of times before then. But Venomoth it was a very clutch member of my team once I got it for the Koga fight.
Yeah, that's why I put Sitwell on my team. After I heard about your run, I was like, all right, yeah, I'll take a look at that. And then he came in clutch.
Yeah, just the ability to just have the off-type defenses, but still be able to pretty reliably output a really strong side beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was next to make their attempt through the Elite Four. Uh, I so I got everyone to 55, and then got sick of grinding because I had spent like I think I mathed it out that like a solid fourth or third of my time playing this game was just grinding my Pokemon up to level 50. Like from beating Giovanni to getting my Pokemon to level 55 was like a solid fourth to a third of my total playtime. I was taking it slow and careful, but it was just a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And I was also watching a lot of Deep Space Nine. That will become more relevant later. Um, but the team that I had was Bouquet the Venusaur, Alliance the Lapras, Sloth the Snorlax, Frayed the Haunter, Quarrel the Fearow, and Sight the Kabutops. The thought being that Bouquet is going to be weak to ice for the first one, but all of them are also water types, so I'm pretty decently covered there. Uh, for Bruno, Sight's going to be real good because I've got water moves and he's a rock type. It does make me weak to his fighting types, but um, between Alliance, Frayed, if I want to throw some Psychic in there, and Sight, I should have that covered no problem. Agatha, the ace in the hole for Agatha going into this was Sloth because I taught him Shadow Ball. So I had a Snorlax with Shadow Ball, and that was my like ace in the hole because he's a normal type. So like Ghost moves don't do anything to him. And then I had Alliance with the ice moves for Lance, and then I just kind of had a generally rounded out team. Quarrel the Fearow was kind of an interesting pick on there, but it was a little bit me going like I like having the flying moves that can be good against Bruno. And I like having the... No, flying is not so good against Bruno because he's rock and fighting, so never mind. But the dark move can be good against some of what the rival had. So it's like, okay, I've got a decent team for going into this. Get them all to 55. I'm just like, that's good enough. I'm sick of grinding. We're just going. So, Lorelei, I believe that's her name for the first one. Not too bad. Bouquet got me through a good chunk of them, and then when Bouquet was getting kind of weak, I threw in Frayed and finished out with the Haunter. Fine, no casualties. Easiest one of the whole bunch, Bruno. Just wash them all away. Agatha wasn't too bad. Again, ace in the whole Snorlax. Just Shadow Ball everything, pretty much. And all the things that weren't ghosts, use other Snorlax standard moves, be done. So, those were all fine. And then we get to Lance. I start off with Alliance, because I'm like, great. Lapras, Ice moves, great. But then he throws out Aerodactyl. And I'm like...
That Aerodactyl.
Aerodactyl's... I don't have a good immediate response to Aerodactyl. So I threw out Sloth, thinking, oh, yeah, this won't be too bad, because, like, Sloth's got some good health, and he can take a good punch, and I can, like, do some shenanigans. And this Aerodactyl just destroys him with a critical hit. I forget exactly what move it was, but just destroys Sloth. Catches me off guard, like, weakens him down a bit, and then catches me off guard with a critical hit. Kills Sloth. That's a problem, because Sloth was in that party to also help me against that rival.
Yeah.
But I beat the Aerodactyl, having only lost Sloth. And then we get to the stupid rival fight. Okay? So I was planning on tackling Alakazam with the Snorlax. Like, it has a lot of health, it can take a hit from Psychic. Great. But I lost Snorlax. So I make my way through his Pokemon, and I get to the Alakazam. And I threw out Frayed. He's a ghost type, he's a little weak, health-wise, but I'm like, if Frayed is faster, I could take him down a good way with a Shadow Ball from Frayed. Frayed was not faster, Frayed was one-shot by the Alakazam using Psychic.
That Alakazam.
Me and Alakazam,
That specific Alakazam, too, knocked your first run out, too.
Yes. Okay, and so I'm like, okay, fine. My backup for this is Quarrel. He's got dark moves. Is Quarrel faster than this Alakazam? No. And he gets one shot.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm looking at this like, I have 3 Pokemon left. I have, at this time, Bouquet, who is poison type and therefore weak to Psychic. I have a half-dead Lapras that if I threw it out, if I switched to it because of the fact that it would attack after the switch, I would almost certainly lose the Lapras. And I had Kabutops. And I'm just like, I guess we're sending out Sight, because the Kabutops is the strongest thing I have, right? Like, it's not immediately weak, and it is at full health. And thank goodness, because Sight could take a hit from... Sight can survive a Psychic Blast. Okay? And so this led to a very simple decision tree. Am I at full health? Then, if so, Surf. It did like a third of his health or a little bit more. If I am not at full health, Heal. That was the decision tree. Okay?
Nice.
I was just shoving healing items down this Pokemon's throat to keep it alive. I used more items on this Kabutops than in the entirety of the Elite Four prior to this. And I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but the battle went on so long. Like I seriously, I used like 15 items easily, just for the interaction between these two Pokemon. But it went on so long that he swapped Pokemon. And I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And so, like, I don't know, maybe he was just like, this isn't going anywhere, let's do something else. But eventually, I got rid of. He sent out his next Pokemon. I could easily handle it. And because he sent out his Charizard, and I'm like, I'll surf you to death too if I have to. And then eventually it went back to the Alakazam, and I'm just like, you're out of healing items. I'm not, and so I eventually wore him down. The Kabutops MVP saved my run.
I was gonna say that site did a lot of work for you that whole run, but
Nice.
He did.
definitely your MVP.
Like, I picked the thing. Like, I was like, oh, it's just, I turned in the fossil and got a level 5 Kabuto back, and I'm just like, hey, you're rockin' water. I can use you. Spend the time to level him up. Saves my run. As a kid, I never looked at Kabutops. But now I'm like, you are like top tier Pokemon in my mind because you were a cornerstone of how this worked.
Oh, that's so great.
And then just looking through the text thread, I do like one of my final notes on this was I think I've developed a very rational fear of Alakazam. Just that whole line, I'm just like,
Terrifying.
But I won. I got through. I lost half my Pokemon. I lost half my Pokemon to that Alakazam, and I would have easily lost the whole run. Very easily lost the whole run just then.
That would have been brutal if that had happened.
Yeah, that'd been rough.
Yeah. Yep. But I did it.
Hey, so again, my Pokemon going into the Elite Four was LeMay, Patton, Sitwell, Nimitz, Biden, and Washington. So for Lorelei, I led with Washington, who had Calm Mind. So he set up with Calm Mind 3 times, and then Shockwave, and then just Shockwaved one after the other, and just like one shot at them because you had Calmed Mind 3 times.
Yeah.
So that was no problem. And then on to Bruno, led with Nimitz, who knocked out the Onyx one shot. Then I brought in Sitwell to handle the Hitmonchan and the Machoke with Sleep Powder and then Psychic. And then he got low on HP, so I switched into Patton, who finished off Hitmonchan. No casualties, that was great. And then after taking everybody's advice, I had taught Sleepy Joe Shadow Ball. So Biden came in and just murdered that whole team. No problem. So then on to Lance. Biden had also had Thunderbolt. So he led with Gyarados, took him out, no problem. And then switched into Nimitz for the Aerodactyl, which he killed. And then the Dragonair, which he killed. And then the second Dragonair, he's got 2 Dragonairs, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
the second Dragonair got a crit, a near-death crit on Nimitz. He got him down to like 4 HP. So I switched into Patton, who then used Dragon Claw to murder the rest of the team. So that was close call, but no deaths on that one. So then it was into the rival battle. And you guys have given me shit about having LeMay on the team because he has literally no business being on this team. But I'm like, I caught him, in route 2 or 3, so he's got to be here. He's survived the whole run. He has to be here. So I led with LeMay to have a mirror match with my rival's Pidgeot, and he did not come out on top. He got murdered, and I'm like, it took you this whole way here, and you lost the mirror match. It's disrespectful. You kind of deserve to die. So, but then I didn't really take many notes on what happened the rest of the rival battle. I think I was just relieved to have beaten him. But at the end of that battle, all my other Pokemon were full health except for LeMay, who was dead. So so I think that Biden did a lot of work. I know that I think Patton was in there at some point. I think it was Biden with the Shadow Ball that took out that the Alakazam one shot. So
Yeah.
and that was my run. Successful. Only death is LeMay to the mirror match, but he had it coming.
Yeah, I will also add the Pokemon that on the champion that was causing all the problems for me at the very end was the Alakazam as well.
Yeah.
It's because a thing hits with a psychic, and like if you can't resist it, it's just taking down a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before getting to Johan, I realized I never went back for my DS9 pin, so I'm gonna come back for the DS9 pin now. As I said, I was watching DS9 while grinding, and it was perfect. Just to bookend my thing real quick, it was absolutely perfect that I was just so happened to be watching the final episode of DS9 while going through this, and it just so happened that the moment that like it scans in my Pokemon and like starts doing like triumphant music and starts playing the credits in Pokemon was the time where the episode for the finale of the final season of DS9 hits credits, and I'm just like, it's perfect timing, great, whatever.
Incredible.
I did rewatch the finale because I'm like, I should have paused it.
Yeah, there's no
I
way you were
should
paying
have.
attention to that episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I really wasn't, so I'm like, I feel bad because like I was actually paying attention while I was grinding, but when I actually hit the battle, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that finale, but like just timing wise, perfect. Okay, Jonathan.
All right. Well,
Everyone else has survived.
I know. Now the real question is, did I? So it's kind of interesting hearing all of the Pokemon that you guys were using, because so kind of, I guess it's not necessarily a huge surprise because there's kind of a limited number in the first gen, but we do have a lot of overlaps happening, which I for some reason wasn't like quite getting in my head during all the text messages and stuff, but that's kind of fun to know. So yeah, so Lorelai's first, and the instant I went into the wait, no, sorry, not that. But anyway, Lorelai's first. I figured that Zapdos was going to be the best option against her. Zapdos is quick. It knew Thunderbolt. Most of her Pokemon are water as a secondary typing, with the exception of Jinx. So for the most part, things went pretty smoothly. She landed a few critical hits on Zapdos randomly, which brought it down pretty low. Didn't lose him, so I ended up needing to swap out into Atlas, my Snorlax, to mop up. I think it was Slowbro and Jinx. I think Atlas also took out the Lapras just using Body Slam. So was not quite as smooth as I had expected it to go, but wasn't terrible. Next up is I completely forgotten his name.
Bruno.
Bruno. It is Bruno. Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to
So
talk about him, but it's okay.
We've already done that 3 times.
that's probably why I forgot his name. But yeah, for Bruno, I had set my Haunter. It knew Psychic, so it was able to take out his fighting types very easily. Set also had Levitate as his ability, so I was not concerned whether or not his Onyx had any ground moves. Don't actually know if they did, but he was also easily able to take out the Onyx because they don't have great special defense. So Bruno, no problem. Agatha was a little bit annoying. Still not terrible. Similar to both Chad and Zach. I had Snorlax learn Shadow Ball, but
It's a
it was
good counter.
it is. It's great. But it was at this point I realized, oh shoot, I've made a mistake. Um, I unintentionally made this more difficult on myself because what happened was before the Elite Four, like everybody else, I was training up my Pokemon. However, at the end of the training session, I flew to the Elite Four, saved and quit. And then when I turned the game on again to go fight the Elite Four, I looked at my party, everybody's full health. But not everybody had all their power points fully maxed
That's
out.
right.
So, oops, made a mistake. So Shadow Ball only had like 3 uses. So that was fun to find out. Turns out, and this will be relevant later for the final champion fight, but there was Gaia also was low on some very important move. But apart from that hiccup, it went pretty well. Snorlax was still able to, I think, one-shot all of her ghost Pokemon. The Arbok gave me a little bit of trouble, though, because its Intimidate cut Snorlax's attack. So
Yep.
it was a bit more of a battle of attrition just because he just wasn't doing a whole lot of damage against it. But anyway,
The question that you have to consider: what will win?
yeah,
Snake that is intimidating, or giant boy that can't be fully wrapped by Snake?
very true. Yeah. But Snorlax did handle Agatha pretty darn easily. Uh, so now we're at Lance. Having played the games probably way too many times as a child, I knew that Lance started with Gyarados. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll start with Zapdos, make this Gyarados disappear in an instant. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Zapdos disappeared his Gyarados, no problems, no questions asked.
In a bolt of
Um,
lightning, gone.
yeah, in a bolt of lightning. Um, so then he sends out Aerodactyl. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. Aerodactyl's still weak against electric types. So, and I've got Thunderbolt. So, cool. Should not be a problem. Um, Thunderbolted. No, it was. I found out, unfortunately, Lance's Aerodactyl was faster than my Zapdos, which was unexpected. I was expecting to be faster, especially because I was a couple levels higher. I know Aerodactyl is crazy fast, but come on, Zapdos is an electric type and a bird, and just like I figured it would be the fastest thing out of any of the Pokemon I was coming across, but apparently not. Aerodactyl was faster. So Aerodactyl uses Ancient Power, um, which I think took Zeus, my Zapdos, down to, I want to say, maybe a little under half health because it is super effective. So that was not ideal. But it ended up getting the stat boost from Ancient Power. So all of its stats were now at +1. So my Thunderbolt against it did not kill it. I think it brought it down. I think it only did like a third, which I thought was insane, but it did not do nearly as much as I had expected. So knowing that Zapdos could not take another hit, especially now that the Aerodactyl was at +1, swapped it out for Atlas Snorlax, because I figure Atlas can take some hits. It's fine. And I can slowly chip away at his Aerodactyl. And I wanted to be able to heal up a few, or heal up Zapdos as well to try to get it back out there, potentially. So, obviously, Aerodactyl is faster than Snorlax, uses Ancient Power again, probably takes away a third of his health. Not ideal, but that's fine. Shadow Ball the Aerodactyl. It does okay damage, not great. Next round, Aerodactyl uses Ancient Power again, and it once again got the stat boosts.
Oh no.
So now this Aerodactyl is +2. It's used Ancient Power 3 times and managed to get the full stat boosts on 2 of those instances.
Jonathan,
Yes.
do you know what the percent chance is according to
I want to say
according
it's
to
10.
sources online? Do you know what the percent chance to raising stats is?
I want to say it's 10%, but I don't know if I've ever received a stat boost using
It
Ancient
is a
Power.
10% chance.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Johan,
So
out of 3 moves, he got it twice.
yes. Yeah. So this is a +2 Aerodactyl, and my Snorlax is not looking super good. Um, so goodness, I can't quite remember exactly what happened, but I had to heal someone. I actually might have sent out my Vaporeon before I sent out um, my Snorlax against the Aerodactyl, and it might have dropped very, very low. So I think I had to heal. I think I used a turn to heal, potentially heal Vaporeon, and his Aerodactyl during that turn ended up using Hyper Beam against my Snorlax and just obliterated it. No idea if it actually mattered whether or not I was only at like half health or not, if I had healed Snorlax instead of one of my other party members before that. I don't know if it would have mattered, just because the Aerodactyl was already doing double damage from the +2 and Hyper Beam's super crazy strong. But yeah,
Yep.
no, Atlas did not survive that. So at this point, I'm like, crap, this isn't great. Because at this point, I was like, I have no idea if any of my attacks are going to be able to beat this Aerodactyl now. Because it's gotten so many stat boosts, and it's so fast, and I at least knew that it had to recharge. So I'm like, okay. So I sent out Poseidon, my Vaporeon, and Aerodactyl's a rock type, Poseidon's water. Ended up using Surf on it. It had to recharge, fortunately. Ended up using Surf, and don't know if this mattered or not, but I managed to get a critical hit on the Surf against the Aerodactyl. So it
Nice.
KO'd it, which was wonderful. And now I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm in a good position because um, Poseidon was specifically on my team to deal with all of Lance's dragons, and now Poseidon's on the field, fully healed, ready to go, and we no longer have a Gyarados or an Aerodactyl. So rest of Lance, smooth sailing, easy. Vaporeon took out everything. So that was
Nice.
good. Um, the rival or slash the champion fight really wasn't too bad. It was very attrition-y. Um, he had Pidgeot out first. I had Zapdos. That wasn't a problem. Um, trying to think what he went into next. I don't fully remember, but I had to withdraw Zapdos. I had to send out someone else. It might have been his Execute or Executor. Sorry. Um, So I really did not take many notes either on this one. So
You're fine.
or in general, but a lot of this is coming from memory. But it was very attrition-y where it was like I would be able to beat his Pokemon eventually, but they would deal a good amount of damage to me. Eventually out on the field, my um it was my Charizard versus his Arcanine, and I used that time basically just to heal my Pokemon because his
Sure.
Arcanine, I don't remember what moves his Arcanine knew. It knew Extreme Speed and probably Flamethrower, but Extreme Speed really wasn't doing much to Charizard, and Flamethrower easily was resisted. So I was using my Charizard just as a wall to heal the rest of my party into fighting strength. Um, Eventually, probably Arcanine went down. He sends out Blastoise. So I send out my Vileplume Gaia. And that's when I find out, oh crap, I gave it Giga Drain specifically for the Blastoise, but it didn't have any power points of Giga Drain on it. So I had to yeah, it was very unfortunate. I had to spend a turn using Elixir. Is that the item? I don't know. Whichever
Yeah, I
item
think
it
so.
was to restore that. And in that time, he actually swapped his Blastoise out, I think, um, for the Alakazam, because that would have been effective against Vileplume. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess Vileplume can't stay out. And now I'm like, similarly, like, crap, Atlas was intended to take out his Alakazam because he's got crazy good special defense and Shadow Ball, but Atlas is dead. So um, I ended up using Poseidon, my Vaporeon, because I never got rid of bite, so it knew bite, and it also had a pretty good special defense. And
Nice.
that was good. Vaporeon actually was able to take a couple psychics from the Alakazam, and I think I managed to get one flinch off with a bite as well. So it really wasn't too much of a problem. And at that point, I'm pretty sure it was just down to the Blastoise, and I probably could have beaten his Blastoise with my Vaporeon just by biting it, but that would have just taken forever. So naturally, swap back out to tagged Gaia back in and just Giga Drained his Blastoise until it was no longer able to fight. And that is how I became champion of the Kanto region. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Other than me failing and restarting, I am surprised that all of us got through.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised to see all of us pass the Elite Four, like no problem. And all of our starters were still alive too. Like
oh
that's
yeah.
one of the overlaps is everyone had their starters.
I mean,
Yep.
my biggest concern was the very beginning when I started with Charmander, and I'm like, there's a problem here if I don't catch a Mankey because I'm basically there's basically nothing else that can help me against Brock, and it's going to be painful. I guess at that point I probably would have used Caterpie and tried to evolve
Yeah,
it to
that's what
Blur Confusion, but
that's what I
still,
did.
that was like, whew, that would have been a while.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, having now gone through this, and it was fun to do it in like together as a group, and have that chat that people can celebrate victories and lament losses and warn about things coming forward and like all that jazz.
Commiserate upon the explosion death of a million Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a quick aside about magnitude or not magnitude. Self-destruct. It feels so much worse to just be like, I lost a Pokemon due to a random self-destruct
Yeah,
than it
it's the
is to
worst.
like it feels worse than a random critical. It feels it's just like what was I supposed to do?
Hyper Fang crits are bad too, man. Those feel
yeah,
bad too.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, yes.
But no, just I know we've talked about in
Getting
comments
arena
before. I'm
capped
just
by a
like
Doug Trio. That's just terrifying.
the infamous Doug Trio.
A terror.
Yes. It was just like, yeah, just the forcing you to use Pokemon that you wouldn't have normally used. Like, I don't know. This has been a fun experience. It's the most fun I've had. Like, I haven't really played Pokemon games in the past 20 years. So, like, this is the most fun. I've had a blast playing Pokemon with y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
definitely a lot of fun to be able to do it side by side and like get the advice from people because like that was one of the things that I did at least, but I think everyone did too. Was like, all right, I'm going up against the Elite Four. Here's my current team. What do we have thoughts on? We can switch out. That's why I had
There was a lot of consulting before the Elite Four,
yeah
before setting out to level grind for the Elite Four. There was like, here's what I have options for. Here's what I could do. What do people
here's
think
my
about
back
this team for
catalog.
coverage? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I remember having that conversation and the question was, okay, so who do you have like in the box? And I take a picture of everybody that I have in the box, and I forget who commented, but it's like, you've got a lot of Pokemon.
Me and
like,
Pat
on
both
your
were like, you
bench.
have so many Pokemon.
Yeah, I feel like I
Just
missed a lot of catches. Not like there's only two that I can think of that routes where I actually couldn't catch anything, but I just feel like I still did not have as many as you did. And I don't know
I
where
mean,
I like failed to catch
maybe
things.
there was one moment where I realized that the Duduo, is that the right name?
Duo.
Doduo?
Doduo, sorry, that I caught was technically a duplicate catch for a route because of the way that I thought it was
Oh
a
yeah.
city catch, because it was
No,
in.
it's technically
Yeah.
Route 17 right there.
But it was technically part of the route, so I'm like, okay, for points and purposes, this one doesn't count. Like, I'm not using it. I left it in the box and was just like, I'm just not allowing myself to use it. But I really didn't think I like double caught anywhere. I missed out on one catch.
I mean,
And
I'll
as
be
we kind of
honest,
talked,
I did not try and maximize my catches. One because Blastoise is kind of broken in Gen 1, and I lucked out on the die roll to get Squirtle because it kind of just carried me through the mid and late game.
yeah, like, well, as we talked about before, like Squirtle is the best pick if your goal is just to like win at the most gyms. And as I will argue, I think Bulbasaur is the best starter choice if you just want to like ensure captures. My
Yeah.
Bouquet was my capture king because I could just leech seed and sleep and
that's
whatever
great,
and
yeah.
just so like it was hard for me not to catch things. Let me. That's not. You know what I mean. That's not what I meant, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah, I
It
had to
was
work
easier.
to catch things. Yeah.
So it helped when having to pull on that bench. Yeah.
I also kind of eventually just landed on between 7 and 8 Pokemon that I figured I was just going to use, and then just decided that I was just going to use those Pokemon for the upcoming battles, and then swap the Pokemon out if there was going to be a problem on a gym battle. But
Yeah, I had to spend a lot of time building up the B teams for bat. Like, I needed to build up a B team to get around certain gyms because, like, I can't use my starter in the psychic gym. I can't use my starter in the poison gym. Well, I can, but it just won't be super effective or won't be particularly helpful. I can't use my starter in the fire gym. Like, mid to late game, I had to really build up a B team to get me around some of those.
yeah, and I felt really
problems.
bad that I had to box my Pidgeot for the Elite Four because I'd had that Pidgey for so long, and it pretty much is the thing that allowed me to not lose right away at the beginning. But like, unfortunately, the Pidgeot was just not doing anything for me.
I kind of had a similar thing. For a long time, I had an Arcanine. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to play the game with an Arcanine. Granted, I already had a Charizard, so there's already an overlap there type-wise. But eventually I realized he's not doing anything to my team, unfortunately. So
I don't know what you mean.
had
Fire
made
types
the
are so
decision
good,
to cut
right,
it.
Zach?
What's that? Fire types are just
Fire
so
types are
good.
so good.
They're so good in this game.
I mean, they pretty much let you defeat Erica, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. That was the one that I really needed some support.
You didn't have to deal with the tanky Tangela.
That is true. I did not have to deal with Tanky Tangela.
I just the,
Yeah, I
it's
probably
really
should have
amazing.
done more work to support my B team, but I mostly just stuck with my A team, and then once somebody died, then bring on a new Pokemon, and then just keep them pretty stable the whole time.
Yeah, that was how I ended up doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar thing. As much as I enjoy playing Pokemon games, the grind is what kills them for me sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
trying my
Yeah.
hardest not to have to
Oh,
grind to level too many.
yeah, there's
Deep
that.
Space Nine.
The other problem for me was leveling up Pokemon is dangerous in a Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
So it's
True.
just like I would rather instead make sure that my team is stable, so I don't have to worry about,
Yeah.
finding a good place to grind that that is also safe
Yeah.
from explosions and various other accidental hazards like hyper fangs.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to get into the details of it here, but dear listener, we have been discussing as a group if and what and not even if what
Not if.
are yeah, it's not an
The
if.
team
We know we're doing a thing, but I'm not going to get into the details of it here. but we're like, yeah, this kind of reinvigorated in a group play of Pokemon, so we're already figuring out what our next one looks like.
I'm excited.
It's not a
Same.
Nuzlocke.
Thank goodness. No.
It's still a challenge, but it's not a Nuzlocke.
As a little bit of a spoiler, I did notice that I have 3 of my team members through the Elite Four are I had Snorlax, Clefable, and LeMay. So I was already 50% of the way there.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
Mine was not possible to. Well, I don't think it was impossible.
I think the only.
I think I would have to go to post game content.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you'd have to somehow get. I think the only ones that were available in 3rd gen for you, Nick, would have been Steelix and
That's post game
whatever.
content.
Well, that's post game. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, I could have probably gotten like a Metagross and various other things because it's not just Johto Pokemon. I think you can get some Hoenn Pokemon too because it is Gen 3. So
Yeah.
You can catch Magnemites in the.
Yeah. Magnemite's still
Ah,
type in
there's
the
the
thing.
one.
Yeah, I think
Magnemite.
that's probably just the one at this time, but
Yeah.
Because in
Don't
actual
worry, that's
Gen
my
1,
starter
they were...
Pokemon for this new challenge. Able to get it on Route 1, baby, in Moon.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, we've more or less figured out what we're doing. We're some of the finer details, and I'm sure we'll be back to discuss that when we get to that. But I mean, I still need to pick up. I think I'm gonna get Pokemon Violet. I'm pretty settled on that. I think go from basically 1st gen to basically the most recent gen, and see what that wide gulf of differences. But we'll get there. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Nope.
Yeah, it's just a blast playing with you guys. I'm sorry I was so late to the party, but
No, you're.
No, we're glad you joined.
As you said, Johan, you didn't know if you'd have the time.
yeah, all good.
I guess as a final thought, I actually found that I really like Nuzlocke. It actually makes Pokemon way more fun to me when there's like stakes. It's mostly the
Yeah.
permadeath. The permadeath really adds the stakes and like not really like having to be really careful.
It
When
yeah,
normally you
it
don't have
really
to
makes
care.
you care.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the group aspect of it makes a big difference too. Because when my kids were really young, when I would rock them to sleep, I would play Nuzlocke. And maybe it was the sleep deprivation, but it was a lot more fun and a lot more successful when I had a chance to like share it with other people and talk about it and strategize. That was just way more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
The Elite Four powwows were a lot of fun. I specifically, me and Pat had a 2-hour discussion about how because he was terrified about the Elite Four. He did not think he was going to be able to make it through it
Ooh.
because he just didn't think he had the coverage because of his casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's also just like it's also nice, like not to be too sentimental for a minute, but it's just also nice to like connect with you guys cross country over
Oh
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
this.
Especially since two
Just
of us are not in the state that everyone else is in. But
That's true.
yeah. So it's just kind of nice.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah, that's it. And I look forward to the next one. I think that it will be a blast.
oh yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Chad has to have one of the roughest starts.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I don't think it'll be too bad.
Probably not.
If you go with Violet, you'll have a pretty good variety of
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll have.
you can use.
He'll
So.
be able to
Yeah.
catch whatever
Well,
he wants.
I'm excited because like ghost. I just like ghost types is like one of my favorite types.
Oh, and you're open to ghost types.
And I'm allowed to take ghost types under this. And I can't take the water starter, but I can take the fire starter, which gets ghost type eventually. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
I'll stop teasing the new thing that we're brewing up. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for this. I appreciate doing this with you all, but also you guys taking the time to talk about it.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It was a lot of fun to discuss it with all of you.
Pleasure as
Yeah.
always.
Recap.
Well, if anybody wants to get in contact with me about anything that we've said, feel free to reach out to me at therestrictedcollection@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm around. I'm not on any of the Pokemon Discords, but I'm around on the Arkham
Nice.
Discords as Head Librarian Chad. And you can reach out to me there. Thanks for listening.